Two, one.
Good morning and welcome to the public hearing for the Healthy Sexuality Advisory Committee. It's October 7th, and I would like to introduce our three presenters today. My name is Kristen Weber. I'm the curriculum coordinator for Southline Community Schools, and I help facilitate the Healthy Sexuality Advisory Board. Lisa Kudwa is joining us today. She's our assistant superintendent for CETA services. And Misty Bratcher is also joining us. She is a health and PE teacher at Centennial Middle School and also a co-chair of our Healthy Sexuality Advisory Board. So to begin our presentation today, I am going to start up a presentation. And I'd like to begin by just talking through our agenda for this morning. So first of all, we went through our introductions. We'll go through the legal authority for the public hearing, the purpose of the public hearing, the process for conducting the public hearing. We'll talk through the Healthy Sexuality Advisory Committee and all of the things associated with that. And I'll also talk through the recommendations coming out of our committee. We will end the presentation with public comment. At that time, you are welcome to leave a written public comment using our Google form. Or you can indicate on that comment card also that you would like, if you would like to call in and give your comment orally. The guidelines for public comment, they need to be filled out in the Google form. The public testimony that is written will be read aloud during the public comment portion of the meeting. Phone-in comments are to be limited to 3 minutes per speaker. We ask that you listen to all comments to limit repetition. And if you are part of an organization or group, you should appoint a representative to speak on your behalf. During the public comment portion, we will have a 10-minute recess for community members who wish to testify to fill out the public comment form electronically and or use the call-in number if you wish to speak on the phone after filling out the public comment form indicating your desire to speak. And then we will take testimony from community members, go through our summary, and then we will adjourn this hearing. Okay, so I would like to begin by talking about the legal authority for the public hearing. Before a school district can make revisions to the healthy sexuality curriculum, a school district shall hold at least 2 public hearings on the proposed revisions. The hearings shall be held at least 1 week apart, and public notice of the hearing shall be given in the manner required under Section 1201 for board meetings. A public hearing held pursuant to this section may be held in conjunction with a public hearing held pursuant to Section 1169. Compliance with public hearing laws. Notice was posted in our administration building on October 2nd, 2020, and electronically via the district website on October 2nd, 2020. The public hearings are scheduled to be held today, October 7th from 9 to 10 a.m. and again next Wednesday, October 14th from 1 to 2 p.m. Just a note that the content is identical at both meetings. The purpose of the public hearing is to report to the public the progress of the school district's Healthy Sexuality Advisory Committee and to obtain input from the public regarding the proposed revisions to the healthy sexuality curriculum and instruction for the district. The process for conducting public hearings, the advisory committee process and its recommendations will be reviewed. The parents, staff, and community members will then have an opportunity to provide feedback that can be both written or verbal. And the Board of Education will take this feedback into consideration when discussing and voting on the changes recommended by the advisory committee. Now I'd like to talk a little bit about the committee membership in our Healthy Sexuality Advisory Committee. So there is legal authority for the committee. Every district choosing to implement sex education must have a sex education advisory board. The local school board determines the terms of service, the number of members, and a membership selection process that reasonably reflects the school district population. The advisory board must include parents of children attending the district schools, pupils in the district schools, educators, local clergy, and community health professionals. At least half of the members must be parents who have a child attending a school operated by the school district. A majority of those parent members must not be employed by a school district. Members must be given 2 weeks written or electronic notice of meetings. Southline Community Schools Board of Education approved these committee requirements back on January 17th, 2005. They revised them again on January 19th, 2009, and again on May 13th, 2011. Southline Community Schools Board of Education approved committee consists of 16 voting members and 3 non-voting members. There's 8 parent representatives distributed among elementary, middle school, and high school. There's 1 clergy from the community, 1 health professional from the community, 1 central office administrator, and 1 high school student. 3 teachers will represent the district, 1 from 5th grade, 1 from 7th or 8th grade health, and 1 from 9th grade PE or health. An assistant principal from 1 high school and 1 middle school, as well as an elementary principal will represent building administration as non-voting members. Southline Community Schools Board of Education approved committee consists of Kristen Weber, myself, I am a CETA administrator and a non-voting member, Misty Bratcher, our district's Healthy Sexuality Advisory Committee co-chair. We have a parent co-chair, that is one of our parent representatives that is voted in by our committee. We have an administrator from all 3 building levels that are non-voting members, a teacher from all 3 building levels, local clergy, a local medical professional, 2 parents of elementary students, 4 parents of middle school students, 2 parents of high school students, and 1 high school student. And those terms alternate between the 2 high schools. Next, we'll talk a little bit about the committee's role. The legal role of the committee. The advisory board is responsible for establishing program goals and objectives for pupil knowledge and skills that are likely to reduce the rates of sex, pregnancy, and STDs. They are also responsible for reviewing and recommending materials and methods to the board, taking into consideration the district's needs, demographics, and trends, including but not limited to teenage pregnancy rates, STD rates, and incidents of sexual violence and harassment. And lastly, they are responsible for evaluating, measuring, and reporting attainment of the program goals and objectives, and making the resulting report available to parents in the district at least once every 2 years. The meeting purpose and schedule for our 2020-2021 school year. Our meetings are scheduled for September 29th, 2020, October 1st, 2020, and in the spring of 2021, we will be meeting again with that date yet to be determined. The advisory committee's purpose in meeting is to evaluate and report on the program of the previously set goals, to establish a need for curriculum updates, and to revise curriculum and make recommendations to the Board of Education regarding those changes. Next, we'll talk about the recommendations for updates to our middle school health program. The recommended updates to middle school health from our committee are to transfer previously approved teaching materials to a Google Slide format so that healthy sexuality can be taught remotely due to the COVID-19 pandemic for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade health. They also recommend to paraphrase previously approved reading materials for students into an electronic format, as well as a printable packet format so students can have a personal copy of the reading material during instruction for 6th and 7th grade health. The committee also approved content to be recommended to the board from the current 6th grade Healthy Sexuality unit to be taught in the 7th grade for 2020-2021 due to missed instruction during the spring of 2020. That was when schools were shut down. The committee also approved content from the current 7th grade Healthy Sexuality unit to be taught in the 8th grade for 2020-2021 due to missed instruction during the spring of 2020. The committee also approved a slide deck for instruction based on previously approved curriculum materials for 8th grade. At this time, we will talk about the guidelines for public testimony. We're going to ask that you use the link in the public um, testimony to indicate that you would like to offer verbal testimony, or you may also fill out the comment card, electronic comment card for written testimony. Each speaker must keep his or her comments to 5 minutes or less. Please listen to all comments in order to limit repetitive comments. And organizations or groups should select a representative to speak on their behalf. We're going to take a short 10-minute break to allow those community members who wish to testify an opportunity to complete the feedback form. We will resume at 9:22. Okay, we will resume at this time. So at this time, community members who have completed a feedback form indicating that they would like to call in to speak will be called upon to testify in the order the comments were received. Again, comments will be limited to 3 minutes, and when possible, concerns or questions will be addressed immediately following an individual's comments. At this time, I am going to turn it over to Lisa Kudwa, who will read our public comment.
So we do have one public comment. Crystal Walker wrote in, she did not plan to call in. And Crystal stated, I believe students should take the class separately based on their gender. This would allow students to ask questions without feeling embarrassed to speak up. I feel students would get more of an education in separate classes. If separation by gender is not an option, please require questions to be written by students and placed in a box for the teacher to answer in front of the whole class.
And at this time, we did not have any other public comment. So I will move on to the summary for today's presentation. The Healthy Sexuality Advisory Committee will take their recommendations to the Board of Education for information and approval on October 19th, 2020. The Board of Education will also be provided with copies of the feedback forms and minutes from both public hearings. Thank you for participating, and this ends our public hearing.